today it was confirmed by local news affiliates in New Orleans that WWE has decided to cancel next year's WrestleMania event that was scheduled to take place in New Orleans, and they are going to move it to another location. They've pulled out of New Orleans. They're moving the venue, and they're moving the show to a different venue. Where is it going to be? Well, the big rumor is, and this was according to New Orleans sources, is that it's going to return to Las Vegas, where it took place last year. That's not confirmed, but that is the rumor, and I believe it was PW Insider who confirmed that WWE is negotiating with the city of Las Vegas to bring back WrestleMania for a second consecutive year. I really feel bad for New Orleans. The one thing I'm annoyed with, I'm seeing some chatter online that they can't handle WrestleMania. I'm sorry, WrestleMania 30 and WrestleMania 34 took place in New Orleans. Another thing I'm hearing is, well, the city's not a good host. It's not a desirable location. There's problems with it. I'm thinking to myself, you idiots, they just hosted a Super Bowl. Super Bowl's 100 times bigger than WrestleMania. They hosted it this year. They had a Super Bowl. They can handle a WrestleMania. And I remember hearing something else about security concerns. I'm thinking, yeah, they just hosted the biggest event in the world right now. They're more than capable of hosting WrestleMania, and they have in the past. They've hosted two. They hosted one of the most memorable WrestleManias of all time. Probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite ever. I don't think it's the best, but one of my personal favorites. That's WrestleMania 30, 2014. 4 years later, they also hosted WrestleMania 34 in 2018. Not as good of a show, nowhere near as good, but I mean, they've hosted it twice, and I've always heard that New Orleans is a great venue because everything's walking distance from Bourbon Street towards the Superdome, towards the Smoothie King Center, which would have held multiple shows. I mean, they've had WrestleMania twice in New Orleans, and it's been excellent both times of how it was produced, of how everything was set up. And, you know, in terms of walking distance, it's probably one of the best hosts. I'm a little bit surprised. I'm actually very surprised they actually pulled this. It's a good location to go to. It's Bourbon Street. There's a lot to do in New Orleans if you're a fan, if you want to do other things besides wrestling all day. And you can go to the conventions. You can go to WWE World, to the Hall of Fame, to NXT, SmackDown, Raw, Night After Mania. You can do anything there. It's such a good location for WWE. I'm genuinely shocked that they did this. Now, I was not expecting them to go back to New Orleans this year. I was actually expecting a different location. We just heard about New Orleans in the last few weeks up until The Rock announced it on the February 21st edition of SmackDown that WWE is going to have WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans. That's obviously been canceled now. I was not expecting this. Another thing I hear is the stadium, and there were problems with the stadiums, but it's been renovated. I saw a video before the Super Bowl that they renovated all of the Superdome to host big events again. It's a much more better run stadium now since the renovations. I'm thinking to myself, why are they doing this? And it's obvious. TKO is all about profits. They want more money. That's not hard to understand. And Las Vegas is just a much wealthier city than New Orleans is, and they outbid them. If WWE just did like WrestleMania 43 in Las Vegas again, I would have thought, well, that's too soon, but whatever. They're giving them a WrestleMania because they bid for it. They already agreed to do this in New Orleans. They announced the events on a SmackDown. It's such a disrespectful act to the city of New Orleans, to the people, to fans living not just in Louisiana, but in all surrounding states who wanted to travel. Now it's much harder to travel to Las Vegas. It's going to be much more expensive to attend WrestleMania, probably. The tickets might not be much different, but I mean, just, the expenses. It really sucks that they did this shit. I'm sure people are now going to have to cancel flights. They're going to have to cancel hotels. People book a year in advance. Don't be surprised. It's really disappointing that they actually did this. I feel bad for New Orleans. They were great for WrestleMania 30, great for WrestleMania 34, great host. They had a great relationship with WWE. And what does WWE give them? They give them Money in the Bank next year. Who gives a shit about Money in the Bank next year? I don't care about Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank's not even that good of a show anymore. It's usually one of the more forgettable shows now. I mean, if we lost WrestleMania, but you get Money in the Bank, wow. That's such a downgrade, man. That's really pathetic, WWE. Now, they did say that they'll give them a new WrestleMania at a different year. I mean, they could, but I wouldn't. I mean, they haven't committed. I think, what's good, the Las Vegas is the most likely host. I mean, Indianapolis is due for WrestleMania because WWE made that year, that 5-year pledge where they have to give them a Rumble, a Mania, and a SummerSlam. They've given them a Rumble already, but they're going to get a Mania and a SummerSlam. There's also Saudi Arabia, which the people were worried WWE was going to put it there. I never thought that because they already have the Rumble there next year, but you absolutely could see a WrestleMania 43 in 2027 or WrestleMania 44 in 2028 go to a Saudi Arabia. That absolutely could happen. And it would suck. I don't want to see it, but strong possibility. The Rumble is the test run for WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, which I believe, unfortunately, will happen one day. So it's disappointing. I mean, they kind of did this last year, but to a much smaller extent when everyone thought it was going to be Minnesota and they were going to finally get their WrestleMania, but then WWE said, no, we're going to do Las Vegas because they got more money, and they did the same thing here, even though like they actually announced New Orleans and they gave them a logo. They have a big New Orleans logo. WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans, they announced the date, everything's set up, and Las Vegas came to them probably and offered more money, and WWE wants to make more money, and they're just going to get more from Vegas, probably from site fees, and they're getting New Orleans, and it just sucks for New Orleans. And if WWE never agreed to this and it was just rumored, I would not even worry about it. I would think, whatever. I think it's such a classless move. It's such an unprofessional move. And it make me extremely unhappy if I was from the area. I'm not planning on attending WrestleMania if it was in New Orleans or Las Vegas, so it's not a huge effect to me, but I think this is the wrong move for WWE. So it's Las Vegas, I think, for sure. It's the likely candidate. And when does New Orleans get a WrestleMania? Again, I mentioned Indianapolis needs one. Saudi Arabia is going to get one. New Orleans, yeah. I mean, you would think that would be your next 4 hosts in no particular order. But how do we know they don't make Las Vegas? They're going to do multiple WrestleManias in Las Vegas. I knew they would. I knew WrestleMania 41 was not going to be the first WrestleMania, the only WrestleMania to take place in the Allegiant Stadium. But for them to do this, I don't like this move at all. And I'm unhappy with their decision. I don't like it. I think it's wrong. Another thing worth talking about is Las Vegas and TKO. So UFC is based out of Las Vegas. It's a Las Vegas promotion. Always has been. And they have International Fight Week, which I believe is usually the week after the 4th of July, the Saturday following the 4th of July. And it's always a big event in Las Vegas. What if they do it's a WrestleMania week in Las Vegas each year? They could do that. I'm not putting that up out of the realm of possibility right now. There's also a possibility that Titan Tower, they moved their headquarters from Stamford, Connecticut. They moved their offices to Las Vegas to be closer to TKO and UFC. That could happen. It's also possible they close the Performance Center in Orlando and move the PC to Vegas, and they have their own Performance Center in Vegas, and they close the one in Orlando. It's possible they move everything to Las Vegas, and it just becomes a full Las Vegas promotion because UFC is already there, and TKO was based there, Endeavor was based there. It's a big thing, and I wish this could have been handled differently. I remember that SmackDown, that one of the worst SmackDowns of all time, but The Rock was there. He announces New Orleans. You hear the ovation, you hear the pop, it just sucks. But I will say with New Orleans, they've at least had 2 WrestleManias, and they had one really great one, so, they've at least experienced it. It's not like I say it's never had one before, but, it really brings a lot of money to the New Orleans economy. I mean, it's a big hit for them. I'm sure they're very disappointed, as they should be, and it's a bad move by WWE. I wish they would have just stuck through it. Even if they weren't going to make as much this year, I don't think it's a good idea to destroy relationships. For them to pull this, I just think it's morally wrong, and I don't like it at all. And by the way, this is another thing that The Rock got wrong this year. So I'll say this. this isn't the first time they've done back-to-back WrestleManias in the same venue. WrestleMania 4 and WrestleMania 5 both took place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So you could have it. You're going to have it probably this time again, and hopefully it's better than last year's show, because if WrestleMania 42 is the same quality of WrestleMania 41, I never want to see another show, not just WrestleMania, another show from Las Vegas again, because they had a SummerSlam there a few years ago in 2021. That wasn't very good. So in that same stadium. So they're 0-2 right now. WrestleMania was not good at all. I hope if WrestleMania 42, it's official, it's in Las Vegas next year, hopefully it's better than WrestleMania 41 was.